Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now, the current is ours. Bitcoin plus Berlin. Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now, the current is ours. Bitcoin plus Berlin. Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now, the current is ours. Bitcoin plus Berlin. Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now,
in Berlin. This is our third ever event here in Berlin. It's one of my favorites. It's really great to see all of you, new faces as well as old. We're going to do something a little different this conference. Well, of course, we're talking about Lightning, which is really exciting, especially since that's where I started my career in Bitcoin. But this event, this kickoff in particular, we're going to kind of give a quick kickoff for the conference, but we're also at the same time going to kick off the hackathon. So Alex is here to help me kick it off. So this is going to be our first conference/hackathon kickoff combination. So without much further ado, here's a little bit of info. This is the 12th conference we've run. Bitcoin has run since June 2012. Again, our third in Berlin. We're super excited to be back here, and already said first one in Lightning++. Just as a quick overview, kind of, why are we running this conference? What are we hoping that you get out of it? Really hoping to get an update on the state of spec development. We've got a lot of people from all of the Bitcoin, all the Lightning spec implementations here in the room this weekend. So really excited to kind of hear from everyone about what's happening in Lightning. We also have at this event, and I think the talks on this main stage this early afternoon are going to showcase people that are using Lightning in the real world. Really excited to kind of hear about from the users and the businesses building on Lightning, kind of what their experience has been with that. So that's really exciting. And then we've got the hackathon as well as some workshops that'll all be downstairs. We're on the 4th floor here. There's another workshop room on the 3rd floor underneath, where we'll be programming some payments with Lightning, etc., and maybe paying some people with zaps. So lots of zapping happening. Before we get into the hackathon kickoff, I'd like to give a really huge thank you to our sponsors, NIDIG and the Human Rights Foundation. These guys helped sponsor the conferences, not just this one, but all of the events we're doing this year, and this entire series would not be possible without support from our headline sponsors as well as everyone else that made this event possible. So a huge thank you to everyone that's contributing to keeping Bitcoin++ going. Okay, so I think that wraps up my Lightning++ kickoff. Without that, we're going to get into the official hackathon kickoff. How many people here have participated in a hackathon at all before? Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got a veteran crew here. So look around. This is your competition. It's going to be pretty, I think, stiff. How many people have participated in a Bitcoin++ hackathon before? Okay, so for a lot of you, this is going to be maybe information you've heard before. But without much further ado, Alex, what have we got for the Lightning++ hackathon
Oh, this is going to be a good one, Nifty. I'm super excited about this hackathon. It's not going to be like any other hackathon that you've ever been to at a Bitcoin++ conference. It's completely different, so tune in. Love it when the first slide and the last slide are the same. First, for those of you who have not been to a hackathon, hackathons are building competitions. We're not hacking into anything. We're building something from nothing. So typically, hackathons are 24 to 48 hours. This one at this conference is 24 hours. So we're kicking off now, and the submission deadline will be at 12:30 tomorrow. So the vibe is that it's an all-out sprint to build. You go from nothing to having a working project in a very short amount of time. Hackathons are an opportunity. So I look forward to hackathons because I get to work on stuff that I typically don't get to work on in my day-to-day job. So in addition, I get to work with super cool people. So look around the room. These are some of the coolest people in Bitcoin and the most innovative builders. So you can just make a team with the people here and work on them for the next few days. In addition, we have a bunch of phenomenal prizes to win. This is a new format. We're doing a hybrid format hackathon. So we've been doing these turbo 2 to 3 hour hackathons for the past few events. This one is going to be a hybrid with the turbo format and our normal 24, 36 hour hackathon. So again, we're kicking off right now. You can start hacking right after this. There's going to be a 2-hour dedicated hacking time, though, at the end of the day. So at like about 3 p.m. today, there's a dedicated hacking time. So the suggestion is that you talk with your friends, socialize for the next couple hours, see some talks, take a look at the challenges, which we're about to go over, and look through the challenge list, and kind of settle on an idea and start hacking around the dedicated hacking time. But the hackathon will be 24 hours. So if you want to keep working and spend a lot of time, stay up all night, you are welcome to do so. Some housekeeping. We use DevPost as our hackathon submission platform. This is also the information hub for the event. So you'll need to get this link. We'll put it in the Telegram, but make sure you have this link, lightning.devpost.com. Yes, you will need to submit your projects to DevPost, but the submissions themselves will not be judged. But it's very important that you get your submissions in with the right team name so that we have you on the list for the expo, which we'll talk about in a moment. So the suggestion is, as soon as you kind of have a team together and an idea together, go ahead and submit your DevPost submission. Don't put a ton of effort into it, but just get it in so we know that you have a team. Next, join the Telegram. You're going to want the updates, the reminders that it's 3 hours until deadline. In addition, finalists will be announced here after the expo. So we'll have the first round. We'll talk about this in a moment, but we'll have the first round where everybody presents their projects in a science fair format downstairs, and then there'll be finalists selected from the Science Fair Expo, and the finalists will present on here on Saturday, or on the main stage on Saturday. So be in the Telegram. All right.
So what's up to win at this Lightning Plus Plus, Alex?
Yeah, we have actually the most prizes. This is the most jam-packed, content-filled hackathon we've ever run by far. Thank you to all of the people, all the companies and sponsors that put up challenges for the hackathon. So first, the format of our hackathons is that the main competition is open-ended. So the top prize, the winner of the hackathon, is just a general, well-rounded project. Anything involving Bitcoin is fair game. This is Lightning++. You get bonus points for using Lightning, but your project doesn't necessarily have to touch Lightning. Just the only qualification is that it has to do with Bitcoin. And then we also have a litany of bonus challenges. One thing to consider is that going for a bonus challenge does not disqualify you from the overall top challenge, the overall best overall. So you should go for as many challenges as you can. There is zero downside. You will automatically, again, be considered for the overall top prize. We have a massive prize pool. There is 8 million sats, roughly, in cash prizes, and an additional 14.8 million sats in ConfTix plus in-kind prizes. So a massive whopping total of almost 23 million sats to give out. So it's incredible. First, the prize breakdown. For the overall, the best overall prizes, these are the overall winners of the hackathon. First place gets a trophy, 2.5 million sats, and Bitcoin++ tickets at a future conference. Second place gets a trophy, 1.5 million sats, and the conference tickets. And third place gets the trophy, 1 million sats, and Bitcoin++ conference tickets. In addition, there can be up to 6 additional teams that get honorable mentions that don't make it into the top 3. And again, your projects are all automatically considered for the Best Overall Award. Nifty, you want to introduce Best Design?
Yeah, so this is our first challenge. I'm very excited to be having a Best Design Award. So it puts a little bit extra effort into the look and feel of your project, and you could be eligible to take home the challenge for 50,000 Satoshis. So.
Yeah, massive thank you to the Bitcoin Design Foundation for their continued support to promote quality Bitcoin design in Bitcoin projects. All right, next prize, Best Beginner Hack. So if you're a bit intimidated and you look around the room at all of these hackathon veterans, there is a prize just for you. For any team who every member is a first-time contributor to Bitcoin open source, or it's your first time at a hackathon, if you consider yourself a beginner, then this prize is for you. So the best beginner gets recognized with free tickets to a future Bitcoin++ event.
Next up is best use of BitVMX. We're very happy to have Fairgate sponsoring the founders and creators of the BitVMX project. They have put up a whopping 2 million Satoshis for the project that demonstrates the best use of BitVMX. This project is a little bit, I think, of a novel thing, maybe for some of the developers here. So they've also submitted a cheat sheet with some QR codes or resources of how to best build on BitVMX to go after this prize. So that'll be listed on the dev post.
Next up is Best Electrum plugin. Yeah, does somebody from Electrum want to come up and say a few words about the Electrum prize?
Felix.
Felix, welcome.
Hey, so in Electrum we introduced this system for external plugins. You can imagine it's a bit like browser plugins, so you can write a plugin and distribute it, and users can load it into Electrum, and then they have additional functionality, and the challenge is to write a plugin that does anything cool. So in Electrum there's Bitcoin functionality, Lightning, Nostr, so you can write anything, any plugin involving that. Yeah, you should submit it as zip file, and it should not require additional dependencies, and that's the challenge. There is a website with documentation on how to write a plugin, so you can search the internet for Electrum docs, and then you see the site how to develop a plugin. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will help you. Okay.
Awesome.
Best Electrum plugin. All right. Best use of LDK for prize of a BitKey hardware wallet. Protect your sats with a BitKey hardware wallet. So for this project, this will be for the best use of the LDK Lightning Development Kit written in Rust. Special recognition for projects that showcase the usage of the Bolt 12 protocol or BIP 353.
Awesome.
Cool. What else we got, Alex?
Next prize, Mint Karma. So thank you, Zeus, for being involved and shouting out this, throwing in this challenge. For this prize, you are to make a project that helps eCash mints gain reputation by crowdsourcing attestations and ratings. Evan, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thanks, Evan.
Hey all, I'm Evan from Zeus. Basically, we added Cashew into Zeus recently. I got to talk about our graduated wallet tomorrow, so check that out. Yeah, we want to see something where, potentially you and your contacts can compare which mints you should choose. I mean, that's one of the harder parts of our UX right now, and we think that this project could go a long way into shaping the future of the Zeus app. So prize is going to be 500,000 sats, and yeah, come chat with me if you need any extra guidance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, what else have we got, Alex?
Best use of Tollgate. Super excited to have Tollgate involved. So Tollgate is giving out a GLMT 3000 travel router to the team that wins. Tollgate is an open source sovereign Wi-Fi infrastructure project that's powered by Bitcoin payments. They wrote up a long list of really sick project ideas, way too many to fit in. So if you're jonesing for a fresh, cool project idea, I highly recommend checking out the dev post, seeing their full list of projects. There's 13 of them or something. Yeah, so super excited to have Tollgate involved.
Cool. Is this the last one? Maybe not. All right. Prize next up is Open Timestamps. Peter Todd's project. 42,000 Satoshis for the project with the most unnecessary use of open timestamps in an otherwise serious entry. Yeah, figure out how to use open timestamps in your project, and you could win the Open Timestamps prize.
Spectacular. The last prize is Best Vibes, winning Vibe medallions and clouts from Vibe Capital Management, the newest, coolest VC, I think, in town.
Yeah.
For the project with the best vibes and the most, quote, dazzle.
Yes. So are we going to get into project judging? Yeah, this will be like the best dazzle. We'll get our best vibes thing. So.
Again, you need this link to DevPost. They have all of the challenges. Highly recommend you scroll through them and mull them over as you're thinking about your project ideas. We'll give everybody a moment to scan. Awesome. Okay, let's talk about rules and judging. So how do we select projects to win?
Right. So now that we know what's up for grabs, there is a three-part Are we gonna go? Yeah. Oh, so first the rules. So how to stay eligible to not get disqualified. There are 4 rules. The first rule is that you can be in a team of 1 to 4 members. You cannot be in a team of 0 members, and you cannot be in a team of more than 4 members. So 1 to 4 is the number, and that is your group. You're allowed to work with team members that aren't here physically present, but 1 team member must be here in person for the expo tomorrow in order to advance to the finals. And then if you make it to the finals, 1 person must be here at the finals on Saturday in order to win. So if no team members are present during the judging period, your team will be disqualified. And finally, no development may start before the start date or time of the hackathon, which is right now. So you can start hacking after this and hack from now all the way until the expo at, I think, 1 o'clock tomorrow, which is great. All code that is written before the hackathon, you're of course allowed to use a project that you've built before and build on top of it. Whenever judges come by, though, please make it as clear as possible as what was actually built or worked on during the 24-hour hackathon period. Great. And then one rule, I don't know if it's on here, is that sometimes we get a question, can I be in multiple teams? The answer is no. You can pick 1 horse and 1 horse only. That is your group of 1 to 4 friends that you're hacking with, and that is your ride or die team to victory. So no splitting tickets, so to speak. Great. How do we judge the hackathon? So we're going to have 2 kind of, there's going to be an expo-style judging, which is a lot like a science fair. We'll basically put teams at tables downstairs in the workshop. Judges will walk around with clipboards, and you'll have 3 minutes to pitch each of the judges that comes by on your project. So it's a great opportunity to practice your pitch. You'll have multiple opportunities to refine how you're presenting it. If the first one doesn't go amazing, it's just like the first pancake. You know, there'll be another judge coming by soon, and you'll be able to nail the second opportunity. It's also a really fun way for everyone to go around and you can kind of see what everyone else has worked on. So that'll happen tomorrow at 1:15, again, downstairs on floor 3. Really excited about that. And we'll be using the dev post submissions to assign tables, etc. So make sure you get your dev post in as soon as possible so that you'll be properly registered for the expo. Once the expo happens, we'll have a top, I can't remember, maybe 5 to 6 teams that will get selected out of the expo to present on Saturday at the finals. And from there, we'll make the top judging presentation. So cool.
Does anybody have any questions at this point about the format or what you have to do before tomorrow? Awesome. Yes, again, finalists present on main stage on Saturday, so this is the main stage. So downstairs is where the expo is going to happen tomorrow, and then on Saturday, the finalists will present right here at 1:30.
What does it take to win? Judging criteria. So we use a, we like to call it the Women's Olympics Gymnastics grading rubric. So there's 3 categories that we'll be judging you on. The first one is how difficult of a task did you set out to do, or routine difficulty. So are you just like a ballerina? Are you just trying to walk down a balance beam? That's not a very difficult task to do, so you would get lower points for how difficult it is. Are you trying to do like a triple axel, backflip, whatever? That would mean like a higher trick or project that you're attempting to accomplish, so you get higher points on the difficulty of what you set out in terms of a project. The second category is routine execution. So this is like, okay, given what you set out to do, how well did you actually execute it? Do you have a wire drawing? Is it a napkin with an idea on it that you're presenting? That would be lower points. Or is it a fully fledged working demo that users can start using right away, like fully executed and realized? That would give you higher points on execution. So you could try something easy and fully execute it, and you would get lower points on difficulty and higher points in execution. Or you could try to do something really challenging and get high points on your difficulty, and then maybe you aren't as able to get as far along, so you'll get lower points on execution. So really trying to reward people that try and do difficult things and pull it off correctly, you would score the highest, basically. And then we have a third category called general effect. This is what we'll be using to judge for the vibes category, the challenge that we mentioned. So this is swag factor, how well do you present it, and how applicable is your presentation to the theme of Lightning. So that's kind of a third, almost judge's discretion category. Great. Any questions about judging criteria? Make sense, everyone?
Yeah. In other words, you can have just a really good idea and just talk about it. That's a great hackathon project. You can not have a good idea and just build something cool. That's a great hackathon project. But in order to win, you're going to want a good idea and a really cool thing that actually works.
Cool.
Schedule. Okay, this is the most important slide. You're not going to want to miss these deadlines. So kickoff presentation, that's right now. Hacking begins right after this at 1-ish. Scheduled hacking time is today at 3:30. I think that's correct. I might have said 3 o'clock before, but it's at 3:30 today downstairs. So that'll be the time to really get to work. On Friday, your submission deadline is 12:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. It will be cut off. Make sure you get your submissions in early. And you need to be here. Actually, you need to be downstairs at the expo hall, like the second floor, at 1 p.m. At 1 p.m., we'll explain how to set up and get you ready for judging so we can start promptly at 1:15. Does anybody have any questions? That's basically it for the hackathon. Happy hacking. So we have a few to-dos for you over the next few hours. First, as you're seeing the talks, your first talks and seeing your friends, socialize, find a team, mull over some ideas, check out the challenges, and eventually when you have a team and you've settled on an idea, you're going to want to go ahead and make your dev post submission. Earlier, the better. So yeah, you're allowed to start hacking, but if you can't find a team or you don't have any ideas, feel free to come to the dedicated hacking time at 3 p.m. That will be when we do team building. So that's the time to find a team if you can't find one. But we encourage everybody to kind of get a head start and start thinking about their projects so that they can hit the ground running at 3 p.m.
Cool. Okay, I think we have a few last announcements, and then we'll get started with our first talk presentation, which I'm really excited about. We'll also be starting some workshops downstairs, so maybe we'll give like a 5-minute break after this, and then we'll start up here with our first talk, and then there'll be, again, a workshop happening downstairs. Oh, sometimes we get asked who hacks in the hackathon. One of the reasons we're doing it at Kickoff is because everyone hacks, participates. We can't wait to see you guys. Look forward to see all your projects that you present and put together, even if you only spend 2 hours, maybe you do some vibe coding, etc. Really excited to see what people produce at Bitcoin++. We had someone who started on a project in Riga who just published it. He made like a cool manuscript interpreter. So what starts here really does change Bitcoin. So really excited to see what kind of ideas we can pull together and put out.
Yeah, another shout out is I just learned today that the Lightning Fuzz project that you guys have all been seeing on the mailing list and delving, that was started at the Floripa Hackathon.
Cool.
And they've taken that on and found like 15, like dozens of bugs in Lightning implementation. So pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that was in February of this year. So very cool. Couple of quick photos. No photos without getting people's explicit permission, please. We have cameras here, but you'll notice they're all pointed at the stage, people that are presenting. But generally we're not going to be taking any pictures of the crowd, and we ask that you also do the same. Some people here are completely anonymous and private, and we want to preserve that for everyone as much as possible. If you're a speaker and you don't want your face to be done, please make sure you come talk to our AV team or someone before your talk, so we make sure that we don't show faces, we'll show slides. When you're up here. As Alex mentioned, we've got a Telegram group where we'll be putting up information about the hackathon, as well as other general information about the conference. So this is a great place to show up. I think it's been emailed out to you a few times. I think I sent out an old Telegram link, so I will post in the other Telegram chat if you're in one of them. There's another more general one, which we use for all of our conferences. So that's a great place to get more information and up-to-date notices about what's happening here at the conference, as well as like side events, etc. And then I think my final thing is we're very excited about the BitChat project, which Kale and some of his local hacker team, I think, have been working on. This is a great place to chat with people locally. It uses a Bluetooth mesh network. It might be a great way to ask questions from the crowd if you're a speaker and you want to get local source questions, etc. So you can download it on the iOS app or on Google Play. There might be other places to get it, but these are 2 great places to check it out. And without further ado, we're going to take a quick, maybe 3-minute break, and then we'll be back here with Michael Blankenship talking about Lightning, and then there is a workshop starting downstairs, which I forget what the topic is, but go check that one out as well. BitVMX downstairs. So if you're interested in the BitVMX prize, the 2 million Satoshi challenge, that would be a really great one to check out. You can see what they're building and working on and get a good idea about what it would take to be competitive in that particular challenge. So great. Thanks, everyone.
Happy hacking.
Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now, the current is ours. Bitcoin plus Berlin. Berlin, the city where walls fell and freedom rose. This storm is more than thunder, it's code, alive, unstoppable. Through rain and shadows we run, forged by fire, forged by freedom. Because now, the current is ours. Bitcoin plus Berlin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need some more volume. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin Plus, the first talk here on the main stage at Lightning Plus Electric Edition. We have Michael Blankenship to discuss the Lingua Franca of Bitcoin, Lightning for operators, not nodes.
Yep.
Please give a very warm welcome, Michael Blankenship. Thank you.
Okay, so just testing. How's the audio? Everyone can hear me? Great. Okay, so I'm thinking that this might be one of the least technical talks that you're going to see at Lightning Plus. And my hope is that we can kind of set the stage for what people are going to be building and all the cool things that can be built on Lightning. Quick raise of hands. I'm just curious. How many protocol developers do we have in the house? Like, raise your hand if you consider yourself a protocol developer. Okay. How many app developers or app/wallet? Okay. And then how many like product/business people do we have in the house? Okay. So this is like kind of what I was expecting. Okay, so hopefully that laptop's okay. Okay, so some background on me, just so you guys have context, and maybe if you want to come ask me about some things later, you know what I might know about. I started as a software engineer in traditional finance. I worked at Capital One. I found Bitcoin, and then, as probably happened to all of you, once you go down the rabbit hole, there's really no coming back. I left TradFi, built a traditional cross-border payments company doing remittances. We used Bitcoin and USDT under the hood to facilitate cross-border payments. If you've heard of Strike, we sold our API services to them, and then they licensed that, and that's how they're doing all their cross-border stuff. After I sort of walked away from that company, I stepped back, and Blockstream found me and asked me to come sort of steer the direction of Lightning at Blockstream. So that's what I'm figuring out now. And ultimately, I think there's some really common patterns between traditional finance and Bitcoin that maybe as people that are just in Bitcoin, we tend to forget or not see. And I think those can be very useful as we go forward. Okay, so really my goal here is to try and help you guys, the builders, figure out Lightning's real role so you can make better architectural decisions. Where does your wallet sit? If you want to be a bridge, what does that look like? And so I think, let me ask this question. How many of you, whenever you started using Lightning, when you first heard about it, did it live up to your expectations of what you thought you would get from Lightning? Okay, so there's a few people raising their hand, and most people are like half head bobbing, like, yeah, it kind of did it, but it didn't. Right, so I think Lightning is misunderstood. I don't think it's not that it's not living up to our expectations. And as I said, I think I see patterns in how payment systems organize themselves. We'll talk about why Lightning sits in the middle of the sort of payment cake, if you will, and what this means for you guys, the builders. Okay, so as I was alluding to, I don't know what you thought, but what I thought the first time I saw Lightning was, oh, I get to download this Bitcoin wallet, and then we have instant Bitcoin payments, and I don't think about anything. Like, you want to pay me 100 sats, I get it, and then I pay 100 sats back out to Madeline or to whoever. And it turns out, well, that's not actually the experience we get on Lightning today, and we've been building out for years trying to work towards something that is just instant Bitcoin payments without the end user having to think about anything, and we haven't really gotten there. What we got instead was channel opening fees, minimum reserve balances, inbound liquidity, routing failures, and the requirement to be online, right? So these are not things that I imagined you'd have to deal with as a consumer, and I'm just not sure that that's the best place Lightning sits. And in the meantime, what has been built out, very cool stuff, is Arc, Spark, Cashew, Fediment, and Liquid. So I think, as I was saying, Lightning is very misunderstood, and we tried to cram it and shove it into this end user consumer box. But it turns out that there's a lot of operational difficulty, right? You really do need operations to have 24/7, always on, online infrastructure. You have to manage the channels. You need capital to deploy. So if you have a Bitcoin balance, you have to separate that and set it aside to use on Lightning. These are all things that, for example, I was talking to Evan, and he's working on graduated wallets, that those things attempt to solve, that Lightning itself does not inherently solve. So the point here is that consumers aren't going to run full nodes as long as it requires Lightning full nodes, as long as it requires them to do all of these operational things. And whenever you look at today, who are the real operators of Lightning nodes, it's larger enterprises and institutions, right? So Kraken, Coinbase, Strike, River, we've got Bolts here. as well. So they're managing the complexity for the users. And yeah, so coming from the traditional finance background, this actually makes a lot of sense to me that Lightning is doing this always on 24/7 payments, but it has to be managed. There's architecture there that you can't just throw on to the individual. So let me try and show you what I mean. In the traditional finance world, this is kind of how things are structured. The customer, the everyday user, you open your bank app, you check it all the time, you just have a balance. You make payments, you don't really think about if you need to be online or any of these things, right? So you can think of that as your banking apps, your Venmos, PayPals, all of those things. Now under the hood, sitting behind those banking apps and Venmo and PayPal is all of the enterprise level infrastructure, the operator rails that enable that. So in the US, we have RTP and FedNow, and there's some other rails in international jurisdictions. But the point is that users never see this stuff. Someone has to operate it, someone has to run it, and interestingly, RTP has a weird, deeply familiar similarity to Lightning in that you actually have to set capital to the side. I won't dig it too much into that, but if you're interested in TradFi rails, there's like really weird similarities between some of these. And then, final settlement being the Bitcoin layer 1 that we're familiar with, but in the TradFi world, that would be RTGS, so real-time gross settlement. That's something that probably, if you haven't worked in TradFi, you're not familiar with, but nonetheless, it's a real thing. So you've got the banking apps, you've got RTP doing the value movement, and then you've got RTGS that does the sort of slow but critical final settlement in the end. Now, I want you to really look at this picture and really understand that there's a cake here happening and that these things are solving different jobs, right? Now, if you squint really hard, you'll notice that there's commonalities in all of these qualities. We're just sort of rebuilding some of these organization and movement, the ways to move money in Bitcoin. So in TradFi, we had banking apps like Venmo and PayPal that are instant and with a simple interface, and people check daily. And in Bitcoin, we're seeing that play out with Spark and Arc and Liquid and all these other applications people are building. With Lightning, it's the thing that these banking apps don't have to necessarily trust each other. They can move value between each other, but it's always on. It's the users never have to see it, and yet it's connecting all the layers. So the point here is that while the names don't change, while the jobs don't change, the names do, and that's sort of what we're seeing here in Bitcoin. I'll dive into this a bit more. Okay, forgive me for this graphic. I used AI to generate it because I was just trying to be quick. But so Spark Liquid is not a protocol, and protocols is not spelled with 2 S. And I don't know why it decided to put euros with Spark and eCash, but there you go. So AI speeds us up, but it also gets confused. Okay, so what's the takeaway here? It's that users are not they're not buying into Lightning because it's Lightning, right? Users are leaning toward what are the user experiences that are simple for me to use. And that's why some of these other things that people are building very much could really shine in the Bitcoin space, and we'll see how all this plays out. But they're optimized for simple UX. Your trust is a spectrum. The amount of trustlessness you have is a spectrum, right? If you want absolute trustlessness, you go to Bitcoin L1. If you want still retaining most of that, you go to Lightning. And then if you just want the most simple UX, then you could go full custodial, think wallet of Satoshi. Actually, go further. Think of just a bank ledger, right? They actually are fully custodying your funds. But so in that spectrum is where we accomplish different jobs, right? So in the full trustlessness side, you're getting full final settlement. In the middle, you're connecting all the layers, right? You're able to do full bearer value transmission, but you need the always-on infrastructure. And then on top, you've got everyday access. So people just able to check their balances and move things and not have to be online. Let's see how quickly that restores. Okay, great. Let me just turn auto sleep off. Start screensaver in 1 hour. Okay, great. So Lightning sits at this really interesting middle ground where you still are able to have most of the trustlessness of Bitcoin itself, and you can do that value transmission. But because of the quirks and the operational load, it's not really meant for the end user to use, so it's perfect for connecting these different apps or protocols like Spark and Arc and Liquid. I think you guys know this, but if you're in this model, then you only kind of use L1 to settle as you need, right? Like you could pretty much 2 enterprises, and we did this at my payments company, but 2 enterprises, like for example Strike, if they're working with us, and we're doing Lightning payments back and forth, we only settle on L1 Bitcoin really when we absolutely need the finality, right? We don't go there unless we have to. So L1 is there to do full final settlement, but it's rare, but it's used to anchor everything. And then I think the interesting thing to note, a lot of people may get upset that I map this to TradFi. But the interesting thing to note is when you squint really hard and you see all the similarities, the thing that we gain by doing all this through a Bitcoin system rather than the fiat system is you're moving bearer assets, not IOUs, and we're trying to build a permissionless system, not a highly gated one, right? So those are things that even though we are sort of rebuilding the cake, we get those bonuses because it's built on Bitcoin. So why specifically does it make sense for Lightning to be in the middle? And here's really the main reasons, right? As I was saying, whenever we use Lightning, we still get mostly trustless settlement. It's real Bitcoin. We're not making hard compromises on the trust model there. So it's real Bitcoin moving, not federated IOUs or something like that. This instant settlement matters for operator flows because enterprises might not necessarily trust each other, right? Network effects are real. Whenever you look around and you look at the enterprises and institutions inside of Bitcoin, Kraken, Coinbase, all the guys I was listing before, all of them know how to speak Lightning, right? And them being able to speak and operate on Lightning is very important if you want to move value between all of the stakeholders in those different sort of ecosystems and enterprises, right? So we've had Lightning in production for a long time, and that lends us a lot of, we know the problems, right? For those of you that have built on Lightning, there's a lot of common things that we know to look for. There's a lot of, there's still things we figure out, of course. But there's a lot of common problems we've already solved for, right? So we're not asking enterprises that need to move value across to each other to use a totally new protocol that has no sort of battle-tested experience. So the main thing you gain, right, from using Lightning instead of the Bitcoin L1 is that it's instant and you still really retain the trustlessness, right? Because if you were to use a different protocol, maybe you still get instant, but you give up on the trust model a bit. So really, this is why I see Lightning as fitting in the middle of that sort of payments cake, is that it's able to move real value in a trustless instant way. So it can talk between protocols. It can talk between Arc and Spark and Liquid, and you can do value transfer between users on those different ecosystems. But the operators or gatekeepers of those particular ecosystems don't have to trust each other. And that's, that's obviously really great, but because of the need to be always on, that's why you're going to see it be these enterprises and operators and not individuals and consumers running nodes that have to worry about active monitoring and alerting and what happens if your node goes offline and all of those things. Okay, so just to quickly walk through what this looks like, this shouldn't be that new for all of you guys if you're working in the ecosystem, but it's basically if you've got someone on Arc and they want to pay someone from a Cashew eMint, the Arc user can initiate a payment. The Cashew mint knows to generate a Lightning invoice. The Arc operator, as the Arc user pays that invoice, they basically pay the Arc operator. The Arc operator then routes that payment over Lightning. And then as the